me, it became obvious doing business not only in Japan but throughout Asia that it's difficult as an expatriate or being seen as a Western expatriate, because people are looking at you and they're wondering that, well, this person is probably going to be gone within 12 to 36 months. So is it worth my time to invest to get to know them? And that's where the differentiation comes into play. If you're able to show them that you're different from the average businessman who just got off the plane, then it gives you a tremendous advantage to build some sort of a mutually beneficial long-term partnership. So we were really blessed those first months and those first years working with Japanese, not only with partners in Japan, but with Japanese partners working throughout Southeast Asia. So organizations like Marubeni, Mitsubishi, Metal Water, and I've now presently putting together a partnership between my employer and a division of Mitsubishi Heavy Industries. And it came down to the way that you set expectations and how you can prove that you're different. And I've had several conversations over the past few weeks about this, what makes a good expatriate or what makes a good international business person, because it's changed tremendously in the past few decades. My career is now, I'm into my 30th year, so it goes back a ways. And, in the 70s, 80s, even in the 90s, it was all about bringing some kind of know-how. And when a quote, Westerner, so a Brit, an American, a Frenchman, a Dutchman, wherever, got off the plane, there was sort of this automatic deference to the level of skill, the level of know-how that they had. But I think that's changed a tremendous amount as the world has gotten smaller and every information is available everywhere. So now I've seen that many times expatriates from the big, what we used to call first world countries, are not the most successful expatriates anymore, because somehow they get off a plane and you're just waiting for that first sentence of, I'm a New Yorker, or I'm a Dutchman, or I'm a Yorkshireman, ... and some disastrous sentence is going to happen after that, because sometimes we feel that these countries that have been very successful for the past century, we have all the answers, and we're going to explain to them how we do it at home, and everyone is just going to listen. Whereas the past few years, the most successful, the best international communicators I've seen are from much smaller countries. They're from Central Europe, or they're Portuguese, or they're Kiwis, or they're from places where it would sound ridiculous for me to walk and say, look, this is how we do it in Budapest, yeah? So this is how I expect to do it here. So countries that have been surrounded by larger countries or are crossroads of trade and communication, that people from there tend to be a bit more open-minded and a bit more or quickly to realize that when they go someplace, they may be landing into a situation where they're not going to be the smartest person in the room. And I think that's the first thing when it comes to good differentiation. I'm not saying that there's good expats and bad expats, but the world has certainly shifted. So when it comes to standing out, most of that is being able to show the locals that you're different in some way, and that some way can be quite subtle. You don't have to be a PhD in Japanese studies to prove that you understand about Japan. And especially in Japan, many times the differentiation is about doing the difficult. So I'm not sure how many successful examples anyone has ever seen about bringing a product or service that already exists in Japan and trying to supplant a Japanese partner or the Japanese manufacturer. That's very difficult, if not impossible. It's usually about bringing some service or product that doesn't exist yet in Japan, because it's then this way you're not replacing a Japanese partner. And that is about doing the difficult and being able to see the reality versus the perception. Because it's, of course, you find this in Japan, but you find it in every country where the people have a perception of what can be done in their own home country and what cannot. But I find that usually the last person that's going to give extremely clear and accurate answers of what can be done is that local who's never either studied overseas or worked overseas or worked with international partners. It's just human nature that you have a perception of what your home market is and you think you know it, and many times you don't recognize the changes that can be made.